Alright, hey guys, it is Miss Sandlin here, and for me, it's Sunday, and I have decided to do a math video for y'all on a Sunday. So we're gonna see how this goes, because math and Sundays don't usually go together for me. But I meant to do it earlier in the week, but the week was really busy for me personally, online teaching and all kinds of other stuff. So I wanted to give you all a review of what Miss Saunders taught us on, I guess would have been last Monday for us, which is converting fractions and decimals and percentages. Okay, so these guys are all related. They are all friends with each other. And decimal is a nice middleman. If you have a decimal, it is real easy to convert to a fraction and real easy to change it to a percent. But fraction to percent and vice versa can be a little bit harder to grasp, if you know what I mean. And this is an example of fractions, a fraction, a decimal, and percent that all mean the exact same thing. So I'm going to show y'all real quick with this easy one how I came up with this. And then I've got a couple ones pulled up on my phone down here that we can practice on this whiteboard that will hopefully help you out if you're still working on those lessons in IXL. So let's just say we start with a fraction. We already know how to convert fractions to decimals. Now it's been a while, probably in my class we probably did this like in Christmas time. So if you don't remember, I don't blame you. So here's how you do it. To convert a fraction to a decimal, you just have to divide like we have been doing. So your denominator becomes your divisor, and your numerator becomes your dividend. But remember when we were dealing with decimals in the classroom, 2 can't go into 1. So all you got to do, your imaginary decimal point's right there, and you tack on a 0 at the end, which means you're going to have a decimal point right here in your answer. I know it's been a minute. So let's think. 2 cannot go into 1. Can 2 go into 10? Yeah, we know that. 2 times 5 is 10. So 2 times 5 is 10. You subtract, and there you go. So 0.5 is the same thing as 0.50. You can write it either way. But the reason why I put a 0 up here is for our next step. Now to convert 0.5 to a percentage. Easy peasy, y'all. All you have to do is move your decimal 2 places. I gotta think because I'm mirrored here. To the right. 2 places to the right. So if I move 0.5, 1, 2. Oh, but I've got a space here. I've got to fill it with something. And that space is always going to be filled by a 0. So 0.5 becomes 50%. Okay? Now that's the easy stuff. Let me erase this and we will bust out a slightly harder one. Okay, let me pull it up on my phone. I do not want to think of these off the top of my head today. Let's do a big fraction. Okay. If I had an improper fraction, 27 over 2, but I needed to convert that to a percent, one way to do that, so I'm going fraction to percent. I'm skipping the decimal step. Oh my goodness, I'm skipping the decimal. Percents are always out of 100. So you could read that as there are, that's 50 out of 100, which is the same thing this decimal is, because remember, 1 place value after the decimal is tenths, 2 place values after the decimal is hundredths. So that's the same thing as this. Keep that in mind. Percentages always, always, always deal with hundreds. So, that being said, to change a fraction to a percent, skip in the decimal middleman phase, you can go like this. Multiply your fraction times 100. Now remember, when we're multiplying fractions by whole numbers, you can just put that whole number over 1 and you go across. And another easy trick, when you're multiplying with powers of 10, like 100, just tack on 2 zeros onto the end of your 27 here. So we got 2,700 over 2. Now we can divide and we will get our percent. So divide, I'll do it down here. 2 into 2,700. Make that one a little smaller so I can write easier. 2 can go into 2 one time. 2 can go into 7 3 times. 2 times 3 is 6. Got 1. Ooh, I'm running out of room, y'all. I should have done it over here. Bring that 0 down. 2 can go into 10 5 times. And I've still got one more 0. And I know I'm out of room. But because I know 10 minus 10 is 0, a 0 is going to go up here. Now, believe it or not, your answer for converting 27 over 2 is going to be 1,350%. I know that doesn't make a whole lot of sense just glancing at it, but think of it this way. This number is definitely improper, meaning your denominator is smaller. So if I wanted to look at this in mixed number form, I do the same thing, but instead of having 2,700, my mixed number would look like this. My mixed number would look like y'all, I'm running out of room. Would look like 13 and a half. 13 and a half is also the same thing as 13.5, because we already talked about halves, what they all look like here. If I move my decimal 2 places to the right, like I always do when I change decimals to percents, 1, 2, I've got a space there, got to add my 0, and then write my percent sign. 1,350%. I know, it's weird. That's a weird looking number, but that's how you do it. I'm going to do another one. Whew, I threw my marker. Because those are a little tricky to look at. Okay. Oh my Lanta, I just erased something I didn't mean to. Okay. Let's do one more. How about, let's do 3/4, something simple. 3/4. Some of y'all should already know what 3/4 is as a decimal and a percent. Because when you have 4 in the denominator, think quarters. So 1/4, 1/4 is 25 cents. 2/4, 2/4 is 50 cents. 3/4 is 75 cents. 4/4 is $1, 100 cents. But looking at this in number form, you need to know how to physically convert it. Because that big old ugly fraction I did before are going to be, you're more likely to see those next year instead of nice pretty ones like 3/4. So anyways, 3/4, I'll just go fraction to decimal to percent. 3/4 to a decimal, you just gotta divide. Oh, but 4 can't go into 3. So I've gotta add my decimal and a 0. Remember, your decimal goes directly above where your quotient goes. Don't move it in front or behind or anywhere crazy. You just bring it straight on up. I know I'm a little slanted, but I'm doing my best. So, think to yourself, you gotta divide. Can 4 go into 3? Nope. Can 4 go into 30? Let's think about that. 4 times 5 is 20, so we can go higher. 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times 7 is 28. 28 is going to be as close as we can get. Let's write a 7 up here. 4 times 7 is 28. Now I can subtract. I know off the top of my head that 30 minus 28 is 2, but if you don't, you can borrow and regroup. 10 minus 8 is 2. I still got to keep going because I can't have a remainder when I'm using a decimal. Without the decimal, it's fine. With a decimal, you need it to come out even. So, tack on another 0. I'm going to make my division bar come out further. 4 can go into 20 5 times. And we have come out even. So 3/4 is the same thing as 0.75. Another way, you can write 0.75 or 3/4 as a fraction is like this. 75 over 100. 3/4, 75 over 100, if you reduce it enough, you'll get 3/4. So this is its simplest form. But this means the same thing. Okay. Now, to convert your decimal to a percent, all you gotta do is move that decimal over 2 beautiful places. 1, 2. And I don't have to change or add a 0 at all for this one. Okay? Now, if you wanted to do the same thing, but they gave you a percent instead, this is what you would do. It's easier to go for fractions to decimals to percents. At least it is for me. It might not be that way for you. Everyone's brains work a little different. But I'll use the same number here. If I had 75% and I needed to change it to a fraction, oh my gosh. That seems so much harder. But think about this. Percent is always out of 100. So, you know your numerator already. Your numerator is 75. And if percent is always out of 100, your denominator is just going to be 100. Look at that. 75% is the same thing as 75 over 100. But if you were giving this answer on some kind of like test or anything, it wouldn't fly because that's not the simplest form. So you'd have to think of what could go into both numbers to reduce them. I'll scooch it over here so we can see better. Well, I know that 5 can go into both numbers easy because 5 can go into 75 and 100. Let's see, 5 into 75. 7 minus 5 is 2. 5 can go into 25 5 times. Alright. And I know that 5 can go into 100 20 times. Oh man, I still didn't get it as small as it could go because 5 can still go into both of these. But this one, you should be able to see what fact it would be. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 20 divided by 5 is 4. So there's your percent to its simplest form fraction. This is the exact same number, it's just not simplified. And again, it is a lot easier to change percent to decimal and decimal to percent than fractions. Fractions can just be a mess sometimes, y'all. If you wanted to change your percent to a fraction, instead of moving your decimal 2 places to the right, you would kick it back the other way, 2 places to the left. So if I want to change 75% to a decimal, I would just go 1, 2. My decimal is 0.75. And we saw that earlier when I worked it out the opposite way. Pretty simple. All right. Now remember, if you are going from decimal to percent, move your decimal 2 places to the right. If you are changing a percent to a decimal, you go 2 places to the left. And if you want to skip the middleman, if you've got a fraction, I'll do 3/4 again because we're just on a roll with it. Skip the middleman from fraction to percent. You multiply by 100. Percents are always out of 100. So you would have 300 over 4, and now we can divide. 4 into 3 is 0. Can't do that. 4 can go into 37 times. This should look familiar. We worked something like this out earlier. 4 can go into 25 times. So your answer is 75%. All right. I feel like I kind of went a little quick there on you, but that's how you do it. If you need to rewatch anything, pause the video to understand what language I'm speaking. Do that. I've got no one's gonna have any problem with it. Sometimes you got to hear the same thing several times in a row before you get it. But just remember, converting these things is not a problem. It's something you're gonna do in your life all the time. Decimal to percent, just remember which way to move your decimal. 2 places to the right. Or percent, 2 places to the left. With your fraction, you're going to have to do some division. But y'all can handle it. Alright. Let me know if there's something on this that you need explained a little bit more. I'll be happy to do another video. Like I said, today's Sunday for me, so math and me are only doing so good together. But let me know what you think. If you got questions, put it down in the comments. We have got Zoom meetings every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I look forward to seeing y'all then. It's really been fun being able to still be able to talk to you guys and chat with y'all and all that good stuff. So I'll see y'all then.